First off, the team talked reworks with Jeff Goodman, and for most heroes, they want to reduce crowd control. That's stuns, boops, pushes, melees, knockbacks, hacks, whatever. Basically, they want to leave in what feels fair and reduce what isn't that fair and leave it mostly on tanks. So, for example, Anna still has her sleep dart because that feels pretty fair. That's a pretty decent stun, but things like Sombra's hack get reduced. So let's talk Sombra's rework. First off, her hack has a faster cooldown, so you can use it. Wait, you can use it more? That's the opposite of what they just said. Well, the thing is, hack lasts for 8 seconds, but it only disables your abilities for 1 second now, which is really great. So you could like hack a Pharah out of her ultimate and she wouldn't be able to use her abilities for 1 second, but she would then be able to, but still remain hacked for the other 7 seconds that are left on it. So with that, Sombra deals 50% more damage to hacked targets. So you get hacked for 8 seconds, you get 50% more damage from Sombra for 8 seconds. On top of that, when you use your ultimate as Sombra, it deals 40% damage to the enemy that gets hacked. So if the enemy has 100 HP, it does 40 damage to them. And then it also hacks those targets. And those hacked targets can now be seen through walls. So hack is a lot different now, and I think it's very, very interesting. On top of that, when you EMP, it doesn't reduce the shields of heroes like Zarya or Zenyatta. It just doesn't affect those shields anymore, which I think is a pretty good change overall. And finally, you can hack in stealth. You get revealed for the moment that you're hacking, but as soon as you're done, you go back invis. So Sombra hunts and kills even more than she used to because she does that 50% more damage on the hacked target. So you get hacked, your ability gets disabled for 1 second, and then Sombra guns you down. I think it sounds incredibly fun. Moving on, we have Bastion's rework. So they want to maintain the flavor of Bastion, so basically the idea of sacrificing mobility for damage, but they want to pull him back a bit. So first off, he doesn't have self-repair anymore. On top of that, alternate fire is now this bouncing sticky bomb ability. Super, super cool ability. Next up is no spread on his Recon form. So that's when he can stand up and walk around. No more spread. It's more like a semi-sniper, as they described it. So you have less fire rate, but more accuracy, which I think is really interesting. On top of that, his ultimate is now artillery mode. You call in 3 strikes, any points of the map you want to, kind of like Doom, and it does 600 damage. Those numbers can change in the future, so that's not what it will be in Overwatch 2. It can change, but it does 300 on impact and 300 explosion damage. But it can be deflected or eaten by D.Va's Matrix or interacted like any other bullet in the game. So I don't know how that exactly would work, but they said you could deflect it, which I think is really cool. And then finally, in his Sentry form, he can skirt around like a tank. So that's the turret form. He can now move in it, which I think is awesome. It now has a cooldown, so you can't use it all the time. And it only lasts for a set amount of seconds. So you go into the ability, and then you can do it for a few seconds, and then you go out of it, and you have to wait a bit before you can use it. But it is still very strong, which I think is incredibly exciting for Bastion. And finally, Space went on the Grand Finals stream and talked about his experience playing Overwatch 2.
Impressions for us, how it was to play 5v5.
I mean, it was amazing. It's super exciting, something new. I feel like the whole game is going to be reworked, which I think a lot of people don't really know yet, is that everything is going to be new. The tanks are going to be new, the DPS are going to be new, all the roles are going to be different, so I'm just looking forward to playing more of it.
So in addition to that, they talked about Push, which is the new game mode where you're playing tug of war, but pushing a giant robot to the enemy side instead of pulling a rope towards your team's side. So Space said, Push plays a lot like Call of Duty. You're respawning and you're going straight into fights, and it's a constant battle. More action, more fighting, more team fights. Space also said every character kind of feels like a DPS, not necessarily that they play as a DPS and, they don't fulfill the damage role, but that the tanks feel like tankier DPS with a slightly different role, but you still get to just basically show off your mechanics while you play instead of being all of the mental mind game that goes in with the tank, which to me, even as a Ryan player, sounds really, really cool. Being able to just go for cool slams and landing awesome fire strikes and, gunning down people with my hammer, which I guess would be hammering down people with my hammer. On top of that, he said that the graphics and the animations and the sounds are all revamped and feel feel very smooth, and he also said that he really liked how the game felt and how it flowed. But anyway, that's all there was in the Overwatch League Grand Finals 2021 pre-show stream. I want to just recap it for you guys so you had a place to see them all. Be sure to follow our social media in the description down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Have a nice day. My name is Nate, and this was Blizzard Guides.